So my name is Nan Pongwitun. I'm co-coordinator of Global Youth Biodiversity Network for Thailand, or Gibbon Thailand, which is one of the partners of GFC as well. And today I have the absolute privilege of being your moderator for today's conversation. As you can see, power in participation, youth climate leadership in Southeast Asia. And before we dive in, let me just say that this is going to be a very fantastic sharing session because we have some truly inspiring youth leaders joining us today. And I can't wait for you to hear their stories and insights. So, since now we are all from different countries, let me check in a little bit about yourselves. Like, okay, so maybe now you can see the chat box on the right side of your computer, right? So maybe just type a little bit where you are from right now. So maybe anyone from Thailand like me, or anyone from Vietnam or Singapore, please come and chat in our chat box. Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing you type where you're from. Like our panelists can type as well. So don't forget to type it, okay? Okay, of course, our Lon, our GFC staff from Vietnam. Wow, from Katie from London. Okay. I'm from Vietnam. Lindsay from Thailand. Okay. Hello, Anthony from Philippines. Mabuhay from Bangkok, Washington, D.C. Kenya. Yes, of course. Like many people from different regions. Okay, from Guatemala. Oh, buenos dias, buenos dias. Okay, from what else? Washington, D.C., Sierra Leone. Okay, Bangladesh. Wow. Okay. Okay, from what else? Oh, another one from Bangladesh as well. Okay, so that's so cool. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, now we have around almost 40 attendees. Okay, so we will a little bit wait a little bit more. Learning about you from Guatemala, Germany. Wow. Okay, another member from Vietnam as well. So thank you so much for being here with us and to learn and hear more about the insights and stories from us as the partners and fellows of Global Fund for Children under the Spark Fund. Oh, another one from Liberia. Sorry if I pronounce wrong. And also from India. Okay, so now let's check it out a little bit about your energy for today's session. And here we are. We have prepared the check-in game for all of you. Can you move to the next slide, please? Ta-da! Okay, here we are. So we have prepared some meme for you to check like how are you today or how have you been during this week? Like how do you feel right now? You feel to be like number 3 or number 4, you can type it all. And don't forget to add your reason behind that meme too, okay? You got it? You got it? So not just only our attendees, but also our panelists can share about what are you feeling right now too by using this meme and also write the reason behind it as well. Okay. Maybe just start from you first, Pipiu. Which meme do you prefer for how you feeling right now?
I think probably number two, because first we thought that no one could hear us and we're just like singing a song at the start and you guys already
Uh-huh.
here. So I'm like, oh, but I'm very excited to for this webinar and also like thank you very much for joining again.
Yeah, yay! Thank you so much, preview. Even she is in the two mood, but she's still doing fine as well. Oh, many answers from our attendees. Oh, John said, oh, it's on 3. Been a good week, right? Okay, sang too. Linda, Linda, our panelist said too. You are our panelist. Come on. Okay. Sujo 9 said 9 because like he's sleepy right now. Okay. Joyce with number 4. Okay. Rebecca, your energy and my first coffee of the day is making me feel like a 3. Okay. So let's keep this energy for all the session. Okay. Okay. Lindsay said number 2. Okay. Henry, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So many people like to be on number 2, number 3, or maybe some of them number 4. Okay. So what else? Lauren said, okay, she chose number 5 because she's excited and nervous as this is the first time we host a webinar on Zoom without seeing our friends who join. Yes, me too. Because like actually like at the first seconds that we start our webinar, we didn't know that you already joined, but okay, you're already here. So yeah, a little bit um excited. Okay, what else? Ritu said, oh, number 9, because balancing a number of deliverables at once. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. What else? Oh, having my first cup of coffee and curious about our webinar. So we will see it together, like how our webinar is going to be. Okay. So totally, the total of our mood today is quite exciting, even a little bit nervous, but everything will be fine for our today's session. So since now we are already here with a lot of people. Oh, Tony said number 7 because I just came back from the gym. Okay, like a gym bro. Okay, good, 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 good. Having exercise is a very good choice for you guys. Okay, so now as we are already here, I would like to introduce you to our panelists and our interpreters who are going to help us through the next 90 minutes. So maybe let's start from Linda.
Hello
Yay!
everyone, my name is Linda. I'm a youth panelist from Vietnam. Very nice to meet everybody, and I'm very excited to join our webinar today. I hope you guys are doing well, and I see that everybody is from many places in the world. So thank you for being here, and I would love to share more about the topic that we're in today.
Thank you, Linda. Okay, coming up next is Sujo.
Hi. Hi everyone. My name is Shizhou and I'm from Singapore. I'm very excited to be here and to share a bit more about my experience with the GFC Spark Fund. So yeah, nice to meet everyone.
Okay, thank you, Sujo. Next, please welcome Pisek from Thailand.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm happy to see you today, and I'm excited to share my experience from youth panelist in Spark Fund.
Okay, thank you so much, Pisek. Okay, next, let's go to Pimengpo from Thailand.
Hello everyone, I'm Mangpor from Thailand. I'm a co-coordinator for Global Youth Biodiversity Network for Thailand, or Gibbon Thailand, the same organization with NANT. And today is very excited to share our works and how we can engage with the youth in the biodiversity and climate policy. Very excited to share everyone. Yay, thank you.
Thank you, Pimengpo. And next, another fellow from Vietnam. Please welcome Alex.
Hello everyone. I'm Alex Nguyen Nguyễn from Vietnam. I'm a writer and cultural practitioner. I'm one of the 10 fellows from Vietnam. And, today I hope that I will share some experience of us as Vietnamese fellows in Scotland.
Okay, thank you, Alex. And last but not least, our learning partner, Trimita Shakmar.
Thank you, Nan. Hi, everyone. My name is Trumita. I'm an indigenous feminist researcher from Bangladesh, and I'll be sharing some of the learnings from this Spark Fund journey later on. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Trimita. And these are our panelists that who are going to show who are going to share their experiences speaking with Spark Fund and Global Fund for Children. And of course, we have to introduce our interpreters as well. So starting from Vietnamese interpreter C. Okay, all good. Thank you so much, C. So we also have our interpreter, our Thai interpreter, P. Jeff. Please welcome. Okay, thank you so much, Cappy Jeff. So now we have all known each other. So since we are here together, so maybe some of you may have heard about GFC before, but some of you may not have heard about GFC. So here, let's introduce a little bit about GFC or Global Fund for Children, about who we are and what we are doing right now. So let's turn this floor to PBU.
Okay, so thank you, Nan. I won't be able to see myself, or I am like speaking right now. So I would just be sharing. Like, I think a lot of you probably know GFC already. So we are like the Global Fund for Children, which is like we work across the different regions, and also like our work is focusing on children and young people. I'll drop the website later so you can check out GFC, but I'll be focusing more on what we're doing at the Spark Fund. And what is the Spark Fund? So the Spark Fund is like a pioneering approach to participatory grant making, that we put funding decision directly in the hands of young people. We launched in 2021, which is like empower like youth panels across different regions, which is like we started with Europe and Eurasia, Americas, South Asia, and Southern Africa. We have like 40 decision makers that representing like 15 different countries. We have over like 1.1 million distributed in flexible fundings, and we support over 56 organizations around the world. And also like we use like different languages, like such as English, Spanish, Thai, and Vietnamese as well. And the thematic area was not like focusing on one thing in particular, but like different like thematic areas such as climate justice, LGBTQ rights, education, and mental health as well. So, but then what is the Southeast Asia Spark Fund? How is it different from like the other Spark Fund? So Southeast Asia Spark Fund was the first Spark Fund that we have a thematic focus, which is we're focusing on climate justice in Southeast Asia. So we were recruiting youth people from Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam, and we had a total of 15 youth panelists, which is 4 from Singapore, 5 from Thailand, and 6 from Vietnam. And it's also like a multilingual and multicultural collaboration. So we work across 3 different languages, English, Thai, and Vietnamese, which is mean that our youth do not require any English to be able to join our program. And then also we provide like interpretation during meetings, both online and in-person meeting as well. And most of the materials that we use also like translate into these 3 languages. We actually have like divided into 2 phases of grant making. The first one, which is like Thailand, and which is like organization grants. And the second one is Vietnam, which is individual fellowship. You will hear more from our panelists of why is it not organization grants in Vietnam and Thailand, and why is it not fellowship in both Thailand and Vietnam. And you'll be like, I also like to share a little bit like you will hear three different groups of people speaking today. The first group, which is like the youth panelists that you can see here, they are the first group of young people that we work with. They are the decision maker. Not only that they make decision, but they also design the whole grant making that that we are implementing at the Spark Fund. And then as I mentioned before, the second part is like we have Thai partners, and then we have Vietnamese fellows. So we will follow the flow of the webinar that we will start with the panelists, and then we'll move you along with the Thai partners and also like with Vietnamese fellows at the end. Yeah, so that's kind of like a overview, a little bit about the Spark Fund. We're happy to share more in the chat as well later about our work, our report, and the link to our website that you can look up more as well. Thank you, Nan.
Thank you so much, PBU, for sharing the story of Spark Fund and GFC and why we're here together. So just a few quick things to help us the most of our time together. Like, please feel free to drop your thoughts, reactions, and questions in the chat throughout, because we love our engaged audience. And furthermore, definitely stick around for our Q&A session toward the end, because your questions make our discussion even better. So why are we here? So maybe like PBU has already mentioned earlier, but just let me talk a little bit, because like now we are living in a moment of profound climate urgency, especially here in Southeast Asia. But here's what's exciting, because like we're also witnessing a powerful shift in how climate action is being resourced and led. The Southeast Asia Spark Fund has been pioneering something truly transformative, putting young people like us at the center of decision making, not just as recipients, but as the architects of climate solutions. And of course, from Gibbon, Thailand, we are the real one of the decision maker who wants to implement our project by supporting by the GFC. And for today's conversation is anchored in the newly released Southeast Asia Spark Fund Climate Report, which documents some incredible lessons about what happens when we shift power, trust youth leadership, and embrace flexible funding approaches. So now we are here at the discussion room for around 60 people. Okay, I'm not sure about my internet right now. Is it okay? Still okay, right? Okay, thank you so much. So maybe let's start from our panel reflections from our panelists first. So we are going to talk with Linda, Suzhou, and Sek. So let's start from our first question, is that how has participation as a youth decision maker or grantee through Spark Fund shaped your climate leadership, your sense of agency, and your relationships in the movement? So who's going to answer this question? And of course, it's going to be P6. So the floor is yours.
Okay, good evening again, everyone. I will speak in Thai for clarify my ideas better. Okay. สวัสดีทุกคนอีกรอบนะครับจริงๆก็ดีใจมากๆที่ได้เจอพี่เจฟอีกรอบหนึ่งนะครับจากที่ไม่ได้เจอมานานแล้วก็ยินดีที่ได้เจอทุกคนอีกรอบหนึ่งนะครับแล้วก็ สำหรับคำถามนะครับจริงๆจะบอกว่าอย่างนี้ครับว่าแบบทุกคนที่เข้ามาในสปาร์คฟันเนี่ยมีการเติบโตแล้วก็ได้เห็นการเรียนรู้ของแต่ละคนแบบค่อนข้างที่จะชัดเจนมากๆนะครับอันนี้ผมอาจจะแชร์ในส่วนของผมแล้วก็ในส่วนของทีมเพื่อนๆประเทศไทยนะครับเท่าที่เราได้มีการพูดคุยกันเนาะสำหรับการที่Spark Fund นะครับได้เปิดให้กลุ่มเยาวชนนะครับได้มามีส่วนร่วมในการพิจารณาทุนในครั้งนี้นะมันเป็นสิ่งที่แปลกใหม่มากๆสำหรับในประเทศไทยอาจจะในแบบเซาท์อีสต์เอเชียเลยด้วยซ้ำเพราะว่าปกติแล้วครับไม่ว่าจะเป็นทุนของภาครัฐภาคเอกชนหรือว่าทุนจากต่างประเทศนะครับเขาก็จะให้ทุนผ่านการที่จะมีคณะกรรมการที่อาจจะไม่ได้เป็นกลุ่มเยาวชนเกี่ยวข้องเลยพอเป็นอย่างนี้ครับหมายความว่าSpark Fund ปล่อยให้พาเนลิสต์ครับทำงานกันเองเต็มที่มากมีการดิสคัสเยอะมากแล้วก็เหมือนเราได้เห็นปัญหาจริงๆของกลุ่มเยาวชนซึ่งพอเราได้เห็นปัญหาคือจะบอกว่าอย่างนี้ครับแต่ละประเทศเนี่ยมีปัญหาที่ไม่เหมือนกันมีคอนเท็กซ์ บริบทที่แตกต่างกัน อันเนี้ยมันทำให้เราเห็นได้ชัดว่าแต่ละประเทศเนี่ยมันก็จะมีมุมมองในการพิจารณาทุนที่ต่างกันด้วย อันนี้มันก็เลยทำให้เชฟไอเดียรูปร่างของความเป็น regional มากขึ้นที่มันอาจจะมีบางประเด็นที่ภูมิภาคเราเนี่ยมีประเด็นปัญหาร่วมกัน แล้วก็มีบางส่วนที่บริบทแต่ละประเทศไม่เหมือนกันอะไรเงี้ยครับแล้วก็ได้เล็งเห็นถึงปัจตรงนี้มากขึ้น ทีนี้ถามว่าการที่เราได้มามีส่วนร่วมกับการพิจารณาทุนเนี่ยมันทำให้เราได้เอ่อมีความรู้สึกว่ามี power หรือมีสิ่งที่เราสามารถที่จะนำไปใช้สำหรับการเป็น climate leader ยังไงได้บ้างเนอะคือผมเห็นได้ชัดครับว่าหลังจากที่จบตัวการเป็นทำหน้าที่เป็น panelist หรือผู้พิจารณาทุนในครั้งนี้ไปครับกลุ่มเยาวชนต่างๆ ก็ไปรันงานของตัวเองได้อย่างชัดเจนมากขึ้นโดยเฉพาะกลุ่มประเทศไทยอะครับเราเห็นว่าการพิจารณาทุนของไทยเองเนี่ยมีคนสมัครเข้ามาเป็น100 กลุ่มนะครับแต่ว่าจริงๆสปาร์คฟันอาจจะสนับสนุนได้แค่5 ถึง 6 กลุ่ม ทีนี้100 กว่ากลุ่มที่เหลือเนี่ยเขาไม่ได้ เราก็เลยคุยกันเองในทีมของยุทธพาเนลิสทีมไทยว่าเราจะทำยังไงดีที่จะทำให้กลุ่มเยาวชนเหล่านั้นเนี่ยเขามี climate action ในพื้นที่ของตัวเองได้ ก็เลยก่อตั้งกลุ่มที่ชื่อว่าCommon Youth ซึ่งทำหน้าที่ในการแบบส่งเสริมสนับสนุนแล้วก็พัฒนาเครือข่ายเยาวชนในการทำงาน climate action ในพื้นที่ของตัวเองได้ อันนี้ก็เป็นกลุ่มที่ริเริ่มขึ้นจากการที่เราได้เห็นปัญหาในการพิจารณาทุนในครั้งนี้เหมือนกัน คือผมมองว่าการเป้าหมายของการที่เอากลุ่มเยาวชนเข้ามามีส่วนร่วมในการพิจารณาทุนเนี่ยอาจจะไม่ใช่แค่ให้เยาวชนเข้าใจกลุ่มเยาวชนกันเอง แต่ว่ามันคือการเปิดโอกาสใหม่ในการที่ให้เยาวชนเข้ามาปิดแก็ปที่มันเป็นปัญหาหลักของการสนับสนุนเครือข่ายเยาวชนในการทำงานด้านสิ่งแวดล้อมหรือว่าด้าน climate นะครับ แล้วก็ถามว่าในการพิจารณาครั้งนี้เนี่ยมันนำไปสู่ให้เราเนี่ยได้เห็นภาพกว้างของภูมิภาคของเรามากขึ้นด้วยเช่นกันนะคือบอกตรงครับว่าไทยประเทศไทยกับเวียดนามเนี่ยมีบริบทที่แตกต่างกันมากถึงแม้ว่าเราจะมีปัญหาแบบพื้นฐานเหมือนกันเรื่องขยะเรื่องของสิทธิทางสิ่งแวดล้อมอะไรอย่างนี้เหมือนกัน แต่ว่าประเด็นคือรูปแบบในการที่จะสนับสนุนต่างกันมันก็เลยเห็นได้ว่าทีมไทยกับทีมเวียดนามเนี่ยเราไม่ได้มีการแกรนที่เหมือนกันเพราะว่ามันเป็นบริบทของแต่ละประเทศ ซึ่งอันนี้ก็เป็นส่วนหนึ่งที่กลุ่มยูทเองต้องทำความเข้าใจอย่างลึกซึ้งมากๆว่าทำไมประเทศนั้นถึงได้แบบนี้ทำไมประเทศนั้นถึงไม่ได้แบบนี้อะไรเงี้ยครับมันก็ทำให้เราได้เห็นมุมมองที่กว้างมากขึ้น แล้วก็เหมือนทำให้เราเอามาคิดได้หลากหลายมากขึ้นเวลาที่เราไปคิด climate action ของเราหรือว่าคิดบริบทกระบวนการของเราในการลงมือทำโครงการต่างๆเนี่ยมันทำให้เรามีหลักคิดพื้นฐานของการที่inclusive มากขึ้นมากกว่าเดิมที่เราจะมองภาพจากมุมแค่มุมเราเพียงอย่างเดียว แต่การแชร์ลิงก์กันในเซสชันของกระบวนการการพิจารณาทุนมันทำกลุ่มเราให้เป็นเราที่เติบโตขึ้นมีความคิดที่กว้างขึ้นครับแล้วก็อีกส่วนหนึ่งก็คือ หลังจากที่เราได้ดำเนินการพิจารณาทุนครบหมดแล้วเนี่ยครับในแต่ละทีมเองเนี่ยก็ยังมีการสื่อสารด้วยกันอยู่ อาจจะมีบางประเด็นที่เรายังทำด้วยกันอะไรอย่างเงี้ยครับมันก็ทำให้เราเนี่ยขยับขยายการดำเนินงานร่วมกันได้ครับคิดว่าประมาณนี้ครับที่จะแชร์
Thank you so much, Pisay, for sharing about from Thailand's panelists because okay, nowadays they have their own group called Common Youth, right? And of course they have many inspirations from being panelists with GFC. Even we are in the same region, but it doesn't mean that we can judge or we can decide how to give all the fundings to every countries in the same context because we are in the same region, but we all have different problems. And the being the panelist can let all the youth that they can use their power, they can have their own decision, and this can lead to closing the gaps for youth-led climate action and also the fundings. Okay, so thank you so much, Pisay, for being here with us. So upcoming next for the next question to our panelists is that what were the surprises, tensions, or learning moments in that journey? So anyone would like to share about this? Our panelists? So I think it might be Linda, right?
Right.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
the floor is yours.
Thank you for the question, Nan. It is a very interesting question. I've spent some time to reflect on this, and I think that there are three things that I think it resonates with our youth panelists personally. It was maybe challenges, but more of interesting facts that we have been through. So as Sek mentioned, it was a so youth participatory grant making was a new thing for us. So all of us were trying to figure out how to do it the best we could. So the first thing I find it a bit difficult was our working style. So it's because we are coming from different countries. We have panels from Vietnam, Singapore, and Thailand, and it was one of the first time we met. So in our different working style, we had to find a way to work and to discuss to bring out solutions on different opinions. And that's the first thing that I feel like, wow, we're really very diverse. Even though we're from the same region, we're very different. But then the second thing we also had to take very close notice was that because of our different backgrounds and local knowledge about different environmental climate resilience and institution. So that's why when we want to look at Vietnam's fellows and Thai partners, we have to talk directly to our panelists from each country in order to understand the local the local situation and to understand what does the local youth think that they need the most. And the last thing, I think that this is the most important, was that there was a language barrier between us because some of our youth panelists, we don't speak English. In fact, English wasn't a requirement for us to be a youth panelist. So what you're experiencing right now, if you're listening to this webinar from another channel other than English, maybe in Vietnamese or in Thai, you're experiencing what we were experiencing when we were youth panelists. We were having wonderful interpreters doing live interpretation in all of our sessions so that we make sure that language is not the barrier to prevent us from sharing our ideas and to prevent people from being able to speak their minds to our regional fellows. So those are the three things. I think it's somehow in some aspect were challenges, but more of surprises and learning notes that I have. So thank you for the question, Nan, and I hope that the three points I made was getting you guys to understand a little bit more about our youth panel.
Thank you so much, Linda. And yeah, it's just like as Sek mentioned earlier that because like we are from different countries, so maybe we have different style of working, we have different language, and also they have to consider a lot when they have to decide whether grants it should be in Thailand, so in what team, or to the fellowships in Vietnam, so to anyone, to any individual. So they have to consider a lot and they have to adapt themselves. But this is the base journey that they have experienced because they can share, they can share their moments together, and also they have learned many contexts from different groups of youth that they have sent that submission to GFC. So thank you so much, Linda, for sharing about your experience working as panelists at Spark Fund. So last but not least, to our last question for our panelists is that this is actually like surprised me a lot because like I never know that our Spark Fund at the first they actually could provide to Singaporean partners as well, but Singaporean panelists decided to withdraw themselves from the funding cycle. So maybe let's turn this floor to our Singaporean panelists. Why did they decide to withdraw themselves from the funding cycle? So, Suzhou, the floor is yours.
Hi. Yep, thanks. So I think one of the reason why the Singapore panelists made a collective decision to withdraw from the funding is, I think back to what Seg was saying, despite being within Southeast Asia, the access to fundings or financial resources is very different. So the four panelists from Singapore, we are heavily involved in environmental and social work in Singapore. And we were able to acquire a lot of institutional support in terms of fundings from the government, from private organizations, and also charities as well. So we were able to experience firsthand like the ease of getting financial resources to run our initiative. And what we noticed when we first spoke to the Thai and Vietnamese counterparts was that this sort of fundings do not come as easy in Thailand and Vietnam. And for youth initiatives or for any initiative to really take flight, financial resources or financial capabilities the most important thing, because without any fundings or without any financial support, you can't really do anything. So given how we were able to gain access to many of these fundings in Singapore already, we felt that for other youth groups in Singapore to be able to run their initiative, they can easily get financial support. That is also one of the key driving force in why we, the Singapore delegates, we felt that it's not right for us to have the Singapore youth initiative to be tapping on this shared resource, because if we were to opt out, we will be able to allocate a bit more funding to the other youth panelists or other youth initiatives in Southeast Asia. So that was the key reason why we have collectively decided to opt out from the funding cycle. And what we've also realized is that different countries have different regulations or different ways on what qualifies as grants and funding. So we really had to work around that to ensure that we can allocate the maximum resources to those that need it the most. And also because Singapore is slightly doing slightly better economically, we were able to we don't feel the blunt of the environmental damage or environmental consequences that's felt in other parts of Southeast Asia, which is why this funds can be used to create more amplified impact in other parts of Southeast Asia besides Singapore. So these are some of the key reasons why we chose to opt out of the funding in the end. Yep.
So thank you so much to Singaporean friends for providing more opportunities to the organization and also fellowships both in Vietnam and Thailand. Thank you so much. So now let's move to the second sharing session where we will learn from the experiences of GFC partners in Thailand and also fellows from Vietnam. So here we are for Mangpo and Alex. So let's start from the first question about what differences have you experienced between traditional grant modalities versus this new approach on the ground. So let's start from Mangpo from Thailand.
Thank you. Yeah, given Thailand also got the funding from the GFC, and this is our first time that we get the funding that's called kind of flexible funding. And I will confirm that is very great, and we would like to share our experience that after we get the flexible funding, what is the benefit that we get. The first one, because of the flexible funding, when we compare to the traditional funding, they focus on like use the money for just doing the project. But if we get the flexible funding, we can allocate the budget for the team capacity building. So the picture that showing in the slide is showing our staff training, and the staff training that we did, we gather all the core team staff that we have in the northern part, the south part, the northeastern parts of Thailand. We gather together. It's kind of like support our face-to-face meeting, and this is very good because it makes us to have a stronger teamwork and building the trust and for working like for the future works. And another things, at the third point, the flexible funding allow us for having the salary, having the travel support. I don't know. When we compare to like the other country, when they're thinking about the youth funding, they always provide the funding just only for doing the project, but didn't pay for their volunteer, something like that. But in given Thailand, we have the core value for the green job. So we try our best to pay for the volunteer to make the green job for the youth. This is our core value right now. And for the fourth one, we think that the flexible funding can make us to have our own decision, can adjust the plan, can adjust the budget category. This is very easy if we manage it in like to respond to emergency situation or emergency topics. That is allow us more flexible. And the last one is really good that we have the budget to be in the events to do the public outreach. And this is make us more chance to talking with the partner, to talking with the youth, to talking with the funder, and this make us more opportunity to get the fund later. And I will talk about this later. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Pimang, for sharing about how Spark Fund helps us a lot as Given Thailand as a volunteer youth organization to create many capacity buildings and also more opportunities for us as youth to outreach to many funders and also communities to share our experience working on this. Oh, and yes, of course, not just our partner from Thailand, but we also have Alex, our fellow from Vietnam. So, Alex, the floor is yours.
Xin chào mọi người, thì mình sẽ nói bằng tiếng Việt. Thì mình có nghĩ là có hai điểm rất là thú vị mà mình nghe phần chia sẻ của Tan và phần chia sẻ của Mampo trước để bắt đầu cái phần chia sẻ của mình. Thì thứ nhất là về khi mà Tan nói thì nếu mà không có tài trợ thì chúng ta có thể thực hiện được các hoạt động không? Thì một câu hỏi này là mình nghĩ là một câu hỏi rất là hay đối với những người hoạt động xã hội, những người hoạt động nghệ thuật hay môi trường. Liệu không có quỹ thì chúng ta có thể hoạt động không? Mình nghĩ là vẫn có thể, nhưng với cái quỹ linh hoạt này thì cái hoạt động nó sẽ diễn ra như thế nào? Nó có ích lợi hơn không? Nó có tạo được sự tác động tốt hơn không? Thì đó là cái phần mà mình muốn tập trung vào hôm nay. Mình cũng đã từng nhận các quỹ khác trong nhiều năm về trước. Với tư cách cá nhân cũng có, với tư cách trong một nhóm cũng có, và mình nghĩ là quỹ truyền thống hay là quỹ linh hoạt của Spark Fund cũng có những điểm giống nhau, đó là đều tạo cơ hội để mình thực hiện nhiều cái hoạt động nó có sức ảnh hưởng hơn, không chỉ ảnh hưởng cho bản thân mà còn ảnh hưởng cho cộng đồng xung quanh, và nó cũng có những cái thách thức liên quan trong cái vấn đề nhận. Tuy nhiên, để mà nói hành trình hơn một năm qua đồng hành cùng với Spark Fund thì mình thấy là quỹ linh hoạt này đã tạo cơ hội cho tụi mình rất là nhiều trong việc thực hiện cái này. Có 3 điều mà mình nghĩ là mình sẽ tập trung hôm nay, đó là về tính cá nhân, tính linh hoạt và những cái căng thẳng tự do mà một cái quỹ có thể cho. Về tính linh hoạt trước nhé, bởi vì điều này tiếp nối cái mà Mampong vừa nói, thì thật sự là Mampong đã đề cập rồi thì mình cũng không đề cập nhiều hơn nữa, mà mình chỉ nói là cái với cái bối cảnh hiện tại của thế giới, đặc biệt là cái bối cảnh biến đổi khí hậu ấy, thì những cái hoạt động gần như là mình không còn là gọi là có một cái thời gian cố định mà gần như phải mang tính thích ứng. Nếu mà bạn có kế hoạch trồng cây trong tháng 12 nhưng tháng 12 lũ lụt đến buộc bạn phải thay đổi kế hoạch thì nó cũng không còn đáp ứng cái gọi là như quỹ truyền thống kỳ vọng là mình phải đáp ứng đúng deadline. Chính vì thế thì cái quỹ linh hoạt nó cho mình cái điều kiện là mình được xây dựng nó để thích nghi với cái bối cảnh hiện tại của môi trường. Đó là cái điều mà mình rất là trân trọng ở cái sự linh hoạt trong cái việc nhận quỹ. Ngoài ra với bản thân mình, ví dụ như trong quá trình làm quỹ mình có những cái vấn đề về sức khỏe, có những cái vấn đề gặp nguy hiểm và mình không thể tiếp tục công việc, thì những quỹ linh hoạt tạo điều kiện cho mình để mình hồi phục, mình trở lại tốt hơn để có thể tiếp tục thực hiện những cái hoạt động đó. Thì đó là cái tính linh hoạt trong cái quỹ. Quay lại cái việc mà ý đầu tiên về cái tính cá nhân, thì trong nhiều năm hoạt động cộng đồng trước đây của mình á, thì mình nghĩ á, là mình sẽ cống hiến hết mình cho cộng đồng, mình sẽ làm rất là nhiều thứ, nhưng đến một ngày mình nhận ra là nếu bản thân bạn không khỏe mạnh, nếu bạn không có hạnh phúc thì bạn cũng không thể nào mang cái điều đó đến cho cộng đồng của mình được. Chính vì thế thì mình nghĩ là khi mà Spark Fund tạo điều kiện để cái quỹ này dành cho cá nhân, dành cho sự phát triển của cá nhân, đồng nghĩa với việc tôn trọng với việc sự phát triển của cá nhân trong cái bối cảnh lớn hơn của cộng đồng, thì mình nghĩ đây là một điều rất là giá trị, bởi vì nó gần như là cái sự cốt lõi của cái việc phát triển bền vững ấy. Anh là lãnh đạo của cộng đồng, anh là người trong cộng đồng, và anh phải là một cái cá nhân khỏe mạnh thì anh mới đảm bảo được cái sự phát triển của cộng đồng đó nó bền vững được. Anh không thể nào cho người khác cái mà anh không có được. Đó là mình nghĩ là một điều mà cần thiết mà chúng ta cần phải ghi nhận với cái người thực hiện các hoạt động cộng đồng trong bối cảnh hiện tại. Ngoài ra thì mình nghĩ là cái tính cá nhân này cũng hay khi mà quỹ Spark Fund dành cho rất là nhiều các cá nhân đa dạng từ các nghề khác nhau. Ở Việt Nam có bạn đến làm nghệ thuật, có bạn thì làm nông nghiệp, có bạn thì làm về viết lách, có bạn thì làm công nghiệp. Nó tạo nên cái sự đa dạng trong nhiều các cá nhân nhất có thể. Và cái tính đa dạng này nó cũng là một cái sức mạnh mang tính cộng đồng, bởi vì cùng tiếp cận về một vấn đề biến đổi khí hậu, nhưng mình có nhiều cá nhân từ nhiều lĩnh vực và từ nhiều tiếng nói, thì cái vấn đề về biến đổi khí hậu nó sẽ được đưa lên một cách hài hòa đa dạng hơn. Cái thứ ba mình nghĩ là một điều mà ai cũng có thể thấy được là với một cái quỹ linh hoạt thì mình sẽ giảm thiểu những cái căng thẳng liên quan tới giấy tờ nè, deadline nè, số lượng người tham gia. Thật sự chia sẻ mà nói á, là một người mà từng tổ chức các hoạt động mà có cộng đồng, mình cực kỳ bị áp lực bởi số lượng người tham gia, số lượng người mà chúng ta sẽ tạo ảnh hưởng ấy. Kiểu có bao nhiêu người tham gia, không có bao nhiêu người đến với sự kiện của bạn, đó là một điều cực kỳ áp lực đối với mình. Thì ở Spark Fund thì điều này không không có, và mình có cơ hội được sáng tạo, có cơ hội được thử nghiệm với những điều khác nhau. Và khi mà có được những cái không gian mà không bị áp lực như thế thì mình nghĩ đó là cái nơi khởi nguồn để cho những cái ý tưởng và những cái mong muốn thực hiện nó được phát triển hơn. Đó là với mình nhận thấy là buổi linh hoạt của Spark Fund đã cho mình những điều đó.
Cảm ơn Alex for sharing your experience with us. And as like Ritu has commented, no, has sent the text in our chat box, like once we have the freedom we want, we will be creative. And this what Alex show us, like how can the flexible funding has supported her a lot, not just her to have more time to create the creativity that she has, but also like to allow her to be in herself and very open to do her own work into climate action in the artistic way. So thank you so much, Alex, for sharing this. So let's move on to the next question, that is, how did this funding and support shape your innovation, adaptability, sustainability, or network building? So let's move back to Pimempo once again.
For the innovation, I think for the flexible funding that giving to the youth is make us to have more creative to do some activity to engage more youth in the climate and biodiversity policy. For example, in Gibbon, Thailand, we create the activity named the Policy Cafe. So we're thinking that if we want the people to know more about climate, biodiversity policy, we should set up the vibe to be more chill. Maybe we can talk in the cafes and discuss about the policy, exchange our idea, something like that. So we created the policy cafe. But you know what? After we get this idea, but we do not have any kind of the funding support, right? So we have to do like sending the proposal to get the funding, something like that. But because of the GFC, we can doing this activity for tasting. And after we tasting this, we get one funder that very interested in this activity. So we create one more activity with this partner and making us to and use this funding for support it. And after that, this partner open the funding to apply for support the project, and we sending the Policy Cafe into the partner funding this thing, and we get this. So how I can say it's just open opportunity for us to for tasting, and after we tasting and someone can see this value and they can like apply and they can like making like exchange more activity and being more sustainable in the future. This is a very great opportunity for the flexible funding. And the second one, we also, because we work as a network, so the flexible funding allow us to strengthen the long term of the network. We also can allocate some of our budget to our partner that we created the youth leader in the north, in the south, in the northeastern, because they are the local youth, so they know the base about the problem in their locals. If they created their activity, if they want to use our resource to create some event, so we can support them and we can allocate some budget to them, and then also develop the capacity of the local youth leader. And the flexible funding, this also increase our adaptability, the resilience, allow us to continue the empowering the young people, integrating the biodiversity and climate priority into action. So for Gibbon Highland, we thank you so much to the GFC for believing in our youth-led initiative. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pimangpo, for sharing that. Okay, how Spark Fund can support our activities to be more creative, and maybe it is just connect with what Alex mentioned earlier about this funding, this flexible funding can support us to be more creative and to be more of what we want to do in the future. And okay, let's get back to Alex. Can you share something how this fundings can shape your innovation and also activities that you have done?
Ok, mình nghĩ là hôm nay ấy, là mình chỉ là đại diện cho tiếng nói của 1 trong 10 bạn khác thôi ấy. Nhưng mà mình hy vọng là những gì mà mình chia sẻ cũng là tiếng nói của những bạn Vietnamese Philo khác. Để chia sẻ cái này thì mình sẽ bắt đầu với một câu chuyện nhá, mình sẽ cố gắng ngắn gọn thôi. Thì cách đây đúng 10 năm, lúc mình 19 tuổi thì mình có nhận được một cái quỹ từ 2 vợ chồng người Mỹ. Cái quỹ này là cái quỹ cho mình 3.000 đô để mình chỉ đi du lịch thôi nhá. Và cái đầu ra là mình không cần phải có một báo cáo gì cả, mà mình nhất định phải đi dùng tiền để đi du lịch nhá. Thì mình nghĩ là vào thời điểm đó thì 3.000 đô đối với mình rất là lớn, và mình đã hoàn toàn dùng 3.000 đô đó để đi du lịch. Mình đi khắp nơi, mình đi Campuchia, Thái Lan, Ấn Độ, Singapore, và mình đã có những ngày tháng rất là đẹp đẽ, mình phải nói như thế. Và sau những cái chuyến đi đó thì mình đã về và mình đã có đủ cảm hứng để mình làm ra tiếp những cái chương trình gọi là travel school. Mình tiếp tục mang người Việt đi ra nhiều nơi khác để tiếp tục học hỏi. Thì khi mà sau 10 năm ấy, mình nhận quỹ Spark Fund này á, thì cái câu chuyện một lần nữa lại là một cái quỹ không đòi hỏi bạn làm gì cả, và chỉ để đưa cái nguồn tiền đó để bạn có thể làm một điều mà bạn ưa thích và liên quan tới vấn đề môi trường. Thì ngày đó là cái vấn đề của mình là vấn đề giáo dục. Thì mình nghĩ là khi mà có một cái nguồn tiền như thế này á, thì liệu những người như tụi mình, những người nhận quỹ này có tiêu nó phung phí không? Tụi mình có sử dụng tiền này để đi một chuyến nghỉ dưỡng không? Và liệu đi một chuyến nghỉ dưỡng thì nó có sai không? Thì khi mà mình nhận quỹ này thì mình cũng có rất là nhiều nghi ngại. Nhưng mình tin là trong 1 năm qua với cái số quỹ này, những fellow của Spark Fund đã thực hiện rất là nhiều ý tưởng tốt đẹp Bởi vì sao? Nếu mà bạn sinh ra trong một gia đình ấy, mà bạn được cho đủ cái niềm tin ấy, bạn được cho đủ cái niềm tin là bất kể chuyện gì xảy ra mày cũng sẽ làm được cái điều ý nghĩa ấy, thì mình tin là cái niềm tin đó là một cái mang cho bạn rất là nhiều năng lượng. Thì mình trân trọng ở Spark Fund đó là đã cho tụi mình cái niềm tin, cho tụi mình cái niềm tin là cái nguồn quỹ này đã được lựa chọn đúng người để trao, và cái niềm tin là cái số tiền này đã được sử dụng một cách hiệu quả. Thì chính cái niềm tin này là một cái nền tảng rất là quan trọng để trong thời gian vừa qua tụi mình có thể thực hiện được rất là nhiều cái thử nghiệm. Thường thì hoạt động cộng đồng mọi người thường cho là phải có đúng có sai, phải nhìn thấy kết quả ngay lập tức, hôm sau phải thấy được cộng đồng lớn mạnh, ngay hôm sau phải thấy được cái cây nó cao ngay á. Nhưng mà với hoạt động cộng đồng ấy, và đặc biệt là ngay cả về khía cạnh văn hóa nghệ thuật như mình á, cái sự thay đổi nó diễn ra một cách rất là âm thầm ấy. Nó còn là cái sự thay đổi trong tâm tưởng nè, xong rồi dẫn đến cả sự thay đổi trong hành vi nhỏ, rồi sau đó mới lan tỏa lên. Nên là khi mà tụi mình có cơ hội được làm những cái thử nghiệm như thế này á, tụi mình không sợ là nó bị sai, không sợ là ôi điều này không đúng, không sợ là mà tụi mình được thử nghiệm. Đó là mình nghĩ là trong năm qua thì tất cả các Vietnamese Philo đã có cơ hội được thử nghiệm những cái điều này. Các bạn có thể thấy trên màn hình là rất nhiều hoạt động đa dạng từ các Vietnamese Philo mang đến trong năm vừa qua. Có bạn thì cho ra sách, những cuốn sách về môi trường, có bạn thì làm về dệt, có bạn thì làm về homestay cộng đồng, có bạn thì làm trồng rừng, có bạn thì làm giấy, có bạn thì dạy ở một cái vườn, dạy về thảo dược ở một cái vườn cộng đồng, hay cả bản thân mình thì có một cái triển lãm cá nhân liên quan đến những người mẹ làm về những người mẹ chịu ảnh hưởng bởi biến đổi khí hậu. Và khi mà có những cái thử nghiệm như thế thì tụi mình có cơ hội được tái tư duy lại về biến đổi khí hậu một cách rất là sâu sắc. Giờ đây biến đổi khí hậu không chỉ là câu chuyện nó nằm ngoài, nó ở bên kia, nó là câu chuyện của các quốc gia nào, mà đó là câu chuyện của chính cả bản thân mình, câu chuyện của chính những người philos đang thực hiện những cái việc này. Và khi mà mình thấy đó là vấn đề của bản thân mình ấy, thì mình nghĩ là nó sẽ tụi mình sẽ đưa ra được những cái solution, những cái giải pháp nó bền vững hơn, thay vì đó là câu chuyện của ai khác. Thì mình nghĩ là cái việc mà Spark Fund tạo điều kiện cho tụi mình trong năm qua, cho tụi mình niềm tin, cho tụi mình nguồn lực để có thể thực hiện những cái thử nghiệm khác nhau, để có thể tái tư duy lại về những gì mà tụi mình đang làm, để có một cái gọi là không lo lắng nhiều về tài chính á, để có thể tụi mình sáng tạo. Thì mình nghĩ đó là một năm mà tụi mình đã được học hỏi, được lớn lên, và tụi mình tin là cá nhân mình ấy, mình không biết thì các bạn philos khác cảm thấy như thế nào, thì mà mình tin là những cái gì mà tụi mình đang làm đều mang đến một cái hiệu quả nhất định nào đó, trước mắt là cho bản thân tụi mình, và sau đó là cho một cái cộng đồng nhỏ hơn, lớn hơn dần. Thì đó là những gì mà mình cảm thấy là quỹ đã hỗ trợ cho tụi mình trong năm qua để làm những cái điều mang tính sáng tạo và đổi mới hơn.
Thank you so much, Alex. Like, it really touched my heart. Like, so I have to like touch my heart myself, because like, yes, we can see that flexible funding is the key to many things that I never imagined before. Flexible funding can give you flexibility to adjust and to adapt your fundings into whatever you want. Flexible funding can be a key to creativity, to create the climate action in your own ways. As you can see, the examples from Vietnamese fellows, that they are from diverse backgrounds, but the purpose or the main goal that they want to create is for climate actions. So we can totally see from the experience of our Spark Fund partner and also fellows in Vietnam that flexible funding is the key of a successful youth-led climate actions. Okay, so now as we already listened from our panelists from Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam, and also our partner in Thailand, Pimangpon, and our fellow Alex from Vietnam, we have received a very positive perspective from them. So now let's shift a bit to the funder perspective. So Now the floor is yours. Please welcome Trimita Shakma.
Thank you, Nan. Hi, everyone. My name is Trimita. As I mentioned before, I'm an indigenous feminist researcher from Bangladesh. Today, I'm joining you from a city named Bristol in the United Kingdom, and it's very cold here. I wish I were in Asia. So let's get started. I'll give a very short presentation summarizing the learning report. So I served as the learning partner for this Spark Fund journey with my Thai and Vietnamese team members between December 2023 to June this year. And our job was to document the learnings from the Spark Fund round so we could inform our future approaches to similar projects. This sort of detailed documentation can help organizations like GFC to share the learnings with donors to raise more funds, to continue supporting young people, while also applying them to improve future implementation in the program work. So that's the purpose, main purpose of the learning and documentation. So in the next slide, you'll see the methods we have used for the documentation, which was very rigorous data collection involving youth panelists, our Thai partners, Vietnamese fellows, as well as GFC staff members over the course of 18 months. So we put all the data and the stories together to write up a very comprehensive report, which was validated through online workshops and also reviews with different groups that are involved. So the learning journey itself is also a participatory process in that sense. The report is available on GFC's website, and the link will be shared with you, I believe. So in the next slide, I will quickly describe what is special about the Southeast Asia Spark Fund. So it's a regional and localized approach to the program, and the program was predominantly led by our Thai and Vietnamese GFC staff, and also the panelists and partners and fellows, while our GFC colleagues and the funders from outside of the region played a supportive role. But the leadership stayed with the people in the country. For instance, and this helps improving the overall quality of implementation because of the contextualized knowledges the people hold. In Vietnam, for instance, it was not possible to provide organizational grants, same as in Thailand, right? And GFC provides grants across the world, and usually it's organization to organization. But in Vietnam, the regulatory system is different. So our colleagues had to navigate this problem. And to solve this grant-making problem, GFC introduced a fellowship model to support young leaders in Vietnam who are deeply rooted in their communities, as you heard from Alex. So this would not have been possible if the donors were not flexible about the funding mechanisms. So this, I think, was a very key learning in how to fund in places that are not the same. So I think this regional partnership was a very key in our success. So some of the key outcomes of this youth-led participatory grant making and flexible funding, I think, that are key to its, to our learning, is that it used this localized approach that I mentioned. That means we use this approach to select the partners and the fellows. And we had language interpretation available to the panelists from 3 countries to communicate with each other to make decisions. And many of the panelists would not have been able to participate if we centered English language and made that a prerequisite, right? And that's usually the case in many of the youth programs around the world. Youth-led participatory grant making means our panelists had the power to design and develop their own selection process and the mechanism. And they also decided to which groups and individuals to distribute the grants to. And they had a very large pool of applications to decide from. So in that sense, they are the ones who led the selection process. Not in the traditional grant making, it would be a panel of adults and usually um, from a donor organization. So that's the difference. And our panelists from across 3 countries worked really, really hard. I witnessed it in the 18-month journey. They worked together to develop a very sophisticated assessment system. They had a very rigorous scoring criteria to make sure the selection process is fair. And they made equity-driven decisions to show their regional solidarity. And as you heard from our Singaporean panelist, Shizao already, right? Our Singaporean panelists voluntarily redistributed their allocated grants to Thailand and Vietnam because they recognize the greater needs in those countries. And such decisions were never heard of in traditional grant making, or at least not documented that I have heard of. Secondly, our panelists also are plugged into very local youth networks. And those networks usually don't work in English, right? So that, I think, played a key role. And these networks are invisible in mainstream international funding ecosystem. So through those networks, GFC was able to outreach many, many new applications. And many of our Spark Fund partners and fellows are first-time recipients of international grants. This is also another difference with traditional funding, where English-speaking, very dominant organizations win the competition of receiving funds. Thirdly, also our young GFC staff and local who are bilingual, can speak both English and Vietnamese and Thai. They are also connected to the youth networks in their own countries, and they played a key role in implementing this program. So without their local knowledge, their deep commitment to supporting the youth in their countries, it would be very difficult to implement this program successfully. So having that infrastructure is quite important. So I would say like the regional and localized approach of the Spark Fund created very lasting networks that are not just about this round of projects and grants, but that will continue to work just beyond this experience of this journey of Spark Fund and grant cycle. And these networks are valuable in tackling global crises like climate change, and that is beyond just the Spark Fund. And as you can see in the slide, one example of an organic network that was born out of Spark Fund, and it was not planned, it was not pre-decided, is the Common Youth Platform in Thailand. So the young people, through their Spark Fund work, decided, no, we want to work together more, and we will create our own thing. And this was one. And we have other examples of cross-border work among the panelists, right? That's also new, where a Singaporean and a Vietnamese, young people decide to work together to do a project together. So these are not planned activities; these are catalytic effects of the work that's been done. And we also saw GFC continue to support the work. It's not just one-off. Some of the young leaders in engaging in regional and global forums to bring international attention to the visibility of their work related to climate action. So that's also very valuable. So we observed that the Spark Fund's approach had multiplier effect, and none of these were like program plans. They had an initial investment through grants that led to strengthening the relationship, forming the network, and also led to organic collaboration. And some of those collaborations received additional funding, so it continues. And this creates a sustained network of young people in the region to continue the work. In the next slide, I think we heard a lot about flexible funding directly from our partners and fellows. So you already can see how important it is for the funding to be flexible to do the work. And especially in the context of climate change, that involves working in emergency situations, which means we cannot predict when we will need the funding and for what, right? Just like disasters like flood, cyclone, or earthquakes, they often hit us without a warning. So we need to be prepared. And so rigid funding conditions would not be so useful in these situations. And I think this documentation shows like how important it is to give flexible funding for effective work. And this is a learning for our funders. There are many examples of how the partners and fellows are utilizing their flexible funds to create lots of innovative solutions and bring about changes at both the local and policy levels. So I will not go into the details today for the interest of time. You have already heard from Paul and Alex, but all the details are in the report if you want to learn more, because there are many other people who are not here are doing amazing work. To sum up, there are 6 factors that contributed to the success of this round of Southeast Asia Spark Fund. And I think this is a key takeaway for, the young people here, for you to understand the whole program beyond just, projects at the local level. It started with authentic youth decision-making, real power over criteria, assessment process, resource allocation were made by young people. It was just not consultation, but they had full power to make decision about that. So the panelists did that. We had local staff who are youth-led staff, and they had deep cultural knowledge and established community networks to drive the work and connect with you. And multi-year flexible funding with minimal restrictions, streamlined reporting, trust-based approach works. The more we can do this, the better it can enable the youth to do their work. I think the language justice, you have also heard from the panelists, it was very important to have resource allocated to professional translation, interpretation, and facilitation, so people across cultures can connect and work together. And also, it's just not about the money, right? It's also about the capacity building, learning from not just one way of learning from experts to young people, but learning from each other and engaging as we are adapting to the work in climate crisis. And also the willingness for GFC to modify, because they didn't have a fellowship model, but they modified to engage, and the funders to be open to try different mechanisms for grant making. So I think these learnings are quite valuable for funders around the world. And just to almost to wrap up, whole idea is to build a better philanthropic ecosystem, right? So the grant can flow, the skills can flow, we can have more cross-cultural, transnational collaboration because the climate crisis is global. So funders, if they embrace flexible mechanisms, accept diverse organizational structures, this means like some youth groups are not registered and often don't have paperwork and all that. But they need funding. We need to fund them to support their work. If funders are flexible about that, and intermediaries like GFC can facilitate that can be very useful. Also to be open to invest in language justice. Researchers, so GFC also, of course, they did the regional coordination work. They provided the multilingual platform and facilitated direct donor and youth dialogue as well. So you can raise funds for your future work. Researchers like me can document what works, make the evidence accessible so it can be used by funders, GFC, so we can learn and improve this ecosystem. And in this production of knowledge, also to center youth voices. So it's just not, some expert creating this. And of course, the young practitioners who is going to save this planet, they can share their learnings openly, continue building the networks that you're already building, and advocate for systemic change. This is how I think we can build a better ecosystem. So in conclusion, on the last slide, I think we can say the future of effective, equitable philanthropy is participatory. That's without a doubt. And our Southeast Asia Spark Fund demonstrates that when funders trust young people with real power and flexible resources, young people can deliver better decisions, greater equity, lasting impact, and build the path forward to systemic change required to save the planet. So thank you for listening. And in the last slide, I put the link to our report. And if you have any questions, you can share in the Q&A session that's coming next. And without further ado, I now hand over the floor back to our very energetic moderator, Nan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Trivita, for your insights of collecting many information since we have been partners of GFC and Spark Fund since 2023. And now you can see that in our chat box, people already shared about the report, so you can read and download from it as well. Or maybe you can go into the link that Long already shared in our chat box as well. So you can see many lessons learned that we have shared as we as partner have shared to our GFC as well. So here we comes for our Q&A session. So if you have any questions, just feel free to type it in our chat box, or maybe you can put it in our Q&A session directly as well. And since we already have some of the questions that already answered, I will just read and repeat for you guys later as well. So now we will give you guys around 5 minutes to type any questions you would like to know, maybe the experience about being the partners of GFC or being fellows of GFC, or even about getting funding from GFC or Spark Fund. You can ask us as well, and our panelists would like to share with you too. So feel free to share. The floor is yours right now. So maybe we have some questions from our friend in Myanmar, right? So Zoe asks that, can young people led economic development projects like ours in Myanmar apply for this fund? And is already answered that we don't currently have the active initiatives in Myanmar, but we hope that one day in the future we will be able to do climate action work with young people there. So please stay posted and in touch with our work through GFC website and our newsletter for any updates. And for sure, like GFC has been like trying to work with many youth across the regions, not just in Southeast Asia, but like in every regions of the world. So maybe like there are more upcoming projects from GFC, and also more fundings from GFC as well. Okay, so here we are for the next question from Tony. Do you have funding opportunities for Philippines or any transnational initiatives with Philippine organizations? So anyone would like to answer this question? Please feel free.
Hi, Tony. I can answer that as GFC staff in Southeast Asia now. So we do not have like our current funding opportunities in Philippines, but we are looking to expand, and we are in the like proposal phase of like we're looking to expand to Philippines and Indonesia in the next Spark Fund phase. So stay tuned for that. Or if you have any like network or connection that you would like to connect us to in Philippines, like please feel free to send it to us too. And we also want to learn more about the work in the Philippines and Indonesia, and we're hoping that we will make this happening in the near future.
Okay, thank you so much, PPU. And also there's another question from our anonymous attendee, is that how can youth approach to the funds? So anyone?
It's like for in general funding, I guess that's really hard to answer, because I think a lot of funding I could only say it in terms of like in Southeast Asia, we still have this idea of like youth organization or youth work. So a lot of funding for youth, it's like kind of like a very small grant. Which is like sometimes accessible in like a platform, like directly to the organization. Sometimes like big organization like Save the Children or UNICEF or other UN organization also have like an open call for application for you to apply it as well. But in terms of our work at GFC, if you're interested in our work, you can go to our website and you can submit your interest to us directly as well. Or as our colleague already mentioned, that please stay tuned and follow us on like either social media or our website, because if we have opportunity coming up, we will post it on those like topic like platform, sorry, not topic, like on those platform as well. Yeah. And the other thing that I like to share is how the Commons Youth are formed is they are trying to close the gap between funders and like youth that looking for funding, because at the moment there aren't many platforms for youth from especially from marginalized community to be able to access to that funding as well. So if you have like any idea that you want to share with us as well of how could youth access to funding, or what's the limitation of the receiving fundings that you have or you experience in your region or your country, so please feel free to share it with us, and then we can collect those data and we will try to integrate it into our work in the future as well. Yeah.
Thank you, PBU. And actually, like, there's also the question in Vietnamese. So maybe can our interpreter see translate this and we can answer this question together. So maybe could it be PBU or Lon? Okay, so maybe it's PBU. Okay, so the floor is yours.
So yeah, please, I will drop our email address here for you to contact us, and then we will link you. Lon can introduce you to a fellow in Vietnam that his name is Vo, which is like he is working on like indigenous textile as well. And we also like have other partners in Thailand that are not Spark Fund, but we're very happy to connect you with that. They are from other initiative that GFC is supporting as well. So I'll drop my email here, and then please email us, and we can connect you and send more information. Yeah.
Okay, so they will provide the contact later. And also there's more question. So we'll continue answering all the question. So the question is that what is the typical funding amount provided by GFC for an individual or group? Example, Vietnam. This is from our Q&A session.
So I feel like I'm talking a lot, and I think Lone is like busy, moderating like the chat. So I'll be answer that. But anyone from GFC or Lone, if you want to come up on mute, please feel free to talk as well. So a typical funding amount that we provided by GFC for individual in Vietnam now is $8,000 US dollars per year, and we first committed with partners for 2 years, and then we will like we cannot promise like longer than that because that's the first pilot of our program, but we're hoping that we can continue supporting our partners and fellows in like longer than 2 years. Yeah, but at the moment that's what we have, which is $8,000 US dollars for 2 years. Yeah.
Okay, that's all. And okay, maybe like Tony asked once again about transnational initiative supported by GFC on climate education. So maybe would you like to answer this once again?
So we have a partner that's working on education in Thailand, and also we have our fellows in Vietnam that working on education as well. So even though we say climate change, and as you know, it's like actually very, very broad topic, we're not narrow it down that, okay, you have to work on biodiversity or you have to work on like conservation. So it's basically like any work that you think is relates to climate change, we are open to that, and we are supporting on that as well. Yeah. So like as Alex said, that is like flexibility is the key to be creative, to be solving the climate crisis in your own way, in their own way. So we don't have like a focus within like the climate change theme, but it's rather than like a very, very broad. So you can have any idea on climate change and then you can tell us. But we don't make decision, as you know, but the decision is made by young people typically from the countries that we will be having our partners working at. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you once again. Thank you so much for all the questions that you have had. And actually, like there's someone from Sierra Leone, Mohammed, that he said that it would be very interesting to extend it more to Africa countries, especially Sierra Leone, that use more uplands farming than lowlands farming, which have made the weather conditions have changed. So maybe in the future, right?
Yeah, we do have our work in Africa. So Mohammed, I will definitely like send what you just shared with us here to our regional team in Africa, and then so for future initiative in Africa, they could also take the point that you just shared in consideration as well. So thank you very much for sharing.
Okay, and there's another question from our Vietnamese attendees. So I will switch to listen the translation from C. What is the question from Goa? Okay, thank you so much. See, and I think like Lon already answer Cole question that maybe the limit of the age is around 18 to 35, right? Okay, so that's the limit age of our TFC
Yeah.
regulation.
So I like to add to that it's only because of the definition that the youth panelists are thinking what is actually youth. So for them, youth is between 18 to 35, and that's decided by the panelists. I also would like to give an example of like the age that we support. Like for example, in Africa, our Africa's team shared that the youth for them is up to 42, 43 or something like that. So I'm very happy because I'm still going to be youth for a while, even though I don't fit in the Southeast Asia one anymore. But also I would like to share further that in the UK, in our work in the UK, we also support someone who's like as young as like 10 years old to do project through individual funding as well. So it's basically different in each initiative and each region. Yeah.
Okay, and for the Spark Fund in Southeast Asia, we base just only 18 to 35, right? Okay. Now, we have another question, like, what kinds of outcomes and outputs that GFC expect from Vietnamese fellows upon receiving funding? Additionally, what are the main research areas of focus supported by GFC, and who are the target groups or beneficiaries that the organization aims to support? Thank you all. Okay, so maybe I think like Alex can share about the outcomes and also outputs from the Vietnamese fellows. So, would you like to share anything, Alex?
Um, Mình không hiểu, mình không biết, mình muốn đặt lại câu hỏi là hình như cái câu hỏi là cái kỳ vọng của GFC chứ không phải là cái output tụi mình đưa ra đâu không nhở? Để mình làm rõ lại cái câu hỏi kỳ vọng của GFC thì phải là GFC trả lời nhở?
Okay, I can take it. So you pass the ball to me. Mình sẽ trả lời Sam bằng tiếng Việt nhé. Ok. Với câu hỏi này thì những cái như bạn biết là cái này là flexible fund đúng không ạ? Thì sorry, I changed to the Vietnamese channel. Thì những cái là các bạn fellow sẽ tự quyết định xem là ở khi mà các bạn nhận fund thì các bạn sẽ có một cái là action plan, là kế hoạch của các bạn ấy là các bạn sẽ sử dụng cái fund đấy vào việc gì, và có một cái expense plan, tức là cái số tiền đấy các bạn sẽ dự định dùng vào việc gì, và cái output hay outcome không tới từ GFC mà sẽ tới từ chính cái kế hoạch của các bạn ấy. Tức là những cái kế hoạch mà các bạn ấy đã đề ra như vậy thì cái mục tiêu sau 1 năm, sau 2 năm và cuối cùng của cái fellowship thì các bạn ấy muốn gặt hái được những cái gì dựa trên cái mục tiêu đấy. Ví dụ như các bạn ấy nói là cái focus area là cái phần các bạn ấy muốn tập trung vào trong năm nay, trong cái năm đầu là việc là xây dựng một cái network, ví dụ như vậy đi, hay là các bạn ấy muốn tập trung vào cái việc là nâng cao một cái kỹ năng đặc biệt nào đấy liên quan đến cái công việc của các bạn đó, thì các bạn ấy sẽ là tôi sẽ trả tiền cho cái khóa học đấy, hoặc là tôi sẽ tham gia một cái hội nghị gì đó, hoặc là tôi sẽ xây dựng một cái core team tại trong cái cộng đồng của tôi, ví dụ như vậy đi. Thì cái output hay outcome nó sẽ là nằm ở cái việc là vậy thì bạn đã đạt được bao nhiêu % trong cái kế hoạch mà các bạn đề ra. Đó. Thì tất nhiên là khi với vai trò là một người tài trợ và một người là muốn hỗ trợ cho sự phát triển của thanh niên, và tin rằng với cái sự phát triển của các bạn ấy thì cộng đồng xung quanh các bạn ấy sẽ được hưởng lợi, thì GFC mong muốn là các bạn ấy sẽ đạt được những cái điều mà trong kế hoạch hành động các bạn ấy đề ra. Và cái phần ý thứ hai là gì? The main research area of focus support. Thì với nhóm các bạn ở Thái Lan thì các bạn sẽ nhận tài trợ vì là các bạn ấy là youth-led group, tức là các cái nhóm được lập ra với có các cái sứ mệnh, rồi các cái mục tiêu để phục vụ cho cộng đồng, và cái mục tiêu kết quả đầu ra của các bạn ấy là mục tiêu đối với cộng đồng đấy. Còn với fellows thì cái kết quả đầu ra chính là sự phát triển của fellows và cái impact của các bạn ấy, cái tác động của các bạn ấy tạo ra được với cái cộng đồng mà các bạn ấy đang làm việc. Và cái này là participatory grant making, là thanh niên tham gia vào quá trình ra quyết định ai nhận fund, thanh niên tự quyết định là các bạn những người nhận fund thì sẽ tự quyết định là các bạn sẽ dùng tiền vào cái việc gì, và các bạn cũng sẽ tự quyết định xem là cái kết quả đầu ra tôi mong muốn là cái gì. Và GFC hay là dưới vai trò là những các cái đơn vị tài trợ khác thì là những người hỗ trợ để các bạn ấy đạt được cái mục tiêu đấy. Nó sẽ hơi khác biệt với những cái fund truyền thống, là thậm chí chính các bạn fellow các bạn ấy cũng mất 1 năm mới thực sự thấm được cái cách tiếp cận này á. Thế nên là có thể là ngay lúc đầu mà nói thì có thể là mọi người sẽ hơi băn khoăn một chút. Thế nhưng mà nếu mà bạn muốn tìm hiểu thêm thì có thể email, mình có chia sẻ email của mình ở bên trên ấy. Thì nếu mà bạn có thể vào website của GFC để tìm hiểu thêm, thì không chỉ với nhóm fellows mà GFC, cách tiếp cận của GFC đó là nó cũng là hỗ trợ các cái sáng kiến được thực hiện bởi các nhóm trong cộng đồng. Thì cũng là cái cách tiếp cận như thế này. Ok.
All right. Thank you so much, Filon. And yeah, so I think like we have already arrived to the end of our today's webinar. A huge and also have a thank you so much to everyone for being here with us. So if you have more questions about GFC or maybe Spark Fund, you can reach out to our staff here, such as PB or Loan, or the emails that already mentioned in our chat box. So please feel free to reach out to them, because like because like they can fully support to all of your demands as our youth into the youth-led climate action nowadays. And I think like today, you all have already understood more about how flexible funding is the key to a successful many cases of youth-led climate action in in Southeast Asia, in Vietnam, and also in Thailand. I think like this is one of the best lesson learned that we have learned, that okay, nowadays it's not just we only have the traditional philanthropic system, but we can have the modern way and how we can truly support youth in the youth-led climate action. So that's it. So thank you so much once again to our panelists today, Linda, Suzhou, Seg, Mangpo, Alex, and Trimita, for sharing your time, your stories, and your truth with us today. Because you are not just imagining a different future, but you are building them, and it's an honor to witness your work, our work together. And of course, especially thanks to PBU and Lone for being here, for supporting us, and also Kusum and our interpreters, our incredible interpreters, C and PJF, that are here with us for 90 minutes together. And of course, thank you so much to our amazing audience for bringing your attentions, a lot of questions that keep coming, and also your commitment to youth-led climate action. So let's stay connected, keep learning, and also keep pushing for the change our planet and our young people deserve. Thank you so much once again. Have a very good night from Southeast Asia, and have a good day to all of you, our friends across regions, and see you in the next webinar. Bye bye. Thank you. Thank you. ขอบคุณค่ะ